If you talk about your business through a purely logical lens, your audience will only ever see the mechanics of what you do, not the magic of how you change lives. Welcome back to part two of our Gemini New Moon series, where we're moving your messaging from the head to the heart. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the exact 7-part storytelling framework. I know it's seven. We can reduce it down. We use inside the AstroBrand certification the voice section to turn raw business features into unstoppable brand assets. I encourage you to grab a notebook because we are going to be building your unique brand voice right now. I'm Leslie Tagorda, a business and brand astrologer and the creator of the AstroBrand method, blending more than 20 years of brand strategy with the precision of astrology to help entrepreneurs and underrepresented leaders make their mark. Okay, in this teaching episode, we are going to get right into the full 7-step AstroBrand Story Blueprint. Now, I know that there are 7 steps, but what I really want you to do is you don't have to remember all 7 steps. What I really want you to do is to remember 3 steps. And then we'll dive deeper into the 7. Now, I've spent a lot of years focusing on storytelling, focusing on brand archetypes, focusing on ideal customer avatars. And the most useful piece of information happens to be the simplest, created by a writing coach and author named Alex Franzen. What I learned from her is a 3-part method that is so perfect for the emotional messaging that we are going to be doing tied to this Gemini new moon. And her 3-part messaging framework is feel, know, do. And so before you ever create a piece of content, and of course she's a writer, but I've used this for my videos, I've used this for social media, I've used this for writing speeches. I want to really understand how I want my participant to feel. Whether, they're coming in feeling a certain way, by the end, how do I want them feel leaving? What do I want them to know? Do I need them to know, logistics and housekeeping things? Do I need to let them know that we're going on this big story arc of teaching framework, and here's the framework that we're going to be putting them through? And what do we want them to do? Always leaving a clear call to action. Because, of course, whether you're a leader, a change maker, an entrepreneur, we always want people to take action. So thank you, Alex, for teaching us the feel, know, do. Now, the feeling part, of course, we can look to our astrology to understand our soul customer. That's like a huge part of the first part of my AstroBrand framework in the visioning section. We have the 4, I call it the big 4. Of course, your big 3, the sun, moon, and rising, but then we add the 4th so that we understand who our soul people are, our soul customers are. And I explain this all in my upcoming book, Astrology for Changemakers. That's available for pre-order right now. But when we understand how our customers want to feel, when we understand how our customers might be struggling right now. So, for example, I have Sagittarius as my customer archetype, my soul partner archetype. I know that my Sagittarius people want to feel inspired. They want to feel hopeful. They want to feel optimistic. They want to feel like they believe in all the possibilities. Big aspirational feelings. But I know that they can get stuck in overwhelm. They can get stuck in confusion. They can get stuck in just doing so much and just feeling like they want to crumble down and ostrich. What would change for you and your business when you knew exactly how your customer feels? Now, you don't have to use astrology for this, but when you do use astrology, it takes a lot of guesswork right out, saving you time and saving you headache. But when you're writing a full arc, I know my team and I have been really, really busy and working on our brand messaging because it was really time to redo them. And I'm just so happy where we are now because we have been mapping out some of these customer journeys. And this is where the AstroBrand Story Blueprint comes in. These 7 steps to create an emotional arc for your messaging and marketing, whether you are selling an offer, whether you're writing an email. It's these different landmarks, 7 little landmarks that you can expand or contract depending on how big your story arc is and what the context of what you're using it. So the first piece that you need in your story arc, of course, and this is taken, of course, from adapted from the hero's journey. I like the hero's journey. I like the heroine's journey too, but we're going to play with the hero's journey right now. And in the story blueprint, the first person you need is your character because, yes, like Luke Skywalker, they are the hero. Who are they? Are they passionate entrepreneurs? Are they coaches? Are they healers? Are they ADHD coaches? Are they underrepresented leaders? Are they energy guides? Whoever they are, get your character and understand what they desire. What's in their heart more than, I want to make $20,000. Why do they want to make $20,000 a month? What is that highly unique, powerful emotional edge that from they desire that you can offer them? Of course, if they desire something that you can offer them, they're not really your customers. And so make sure you're connecting those dots with them. Okay. The second piece that you need is their problem, the villain. Now, this villain isn't always like an external villain like Darth Vader. Sometimes this could be an internal villain like themselves and limiting self beliefs. And sometimes it can be both. I love calling this the inner awakening. That's the inner villain, and the outer expression. That's like the actual block. And sometimes these blocks might not be a wall, like a physical wall, but it could be a systemic wall that prevents us from doing the things that we want to do. So, what is your hero's villain as it pertains to what you are offering? So, the barrier for your current business offering might feel too generic, or you might be struggling, or they might be struggling to monetize their love of astrology in a practical way. When I think about my clients who come for me for the AstroBrand certification, indeed, these are some of their this is some of their struggles. They feel that their offers are too generic or their offers are too scattered. They want to bring things clear. They want to weave things together. And they want to find an edge, a special way of weaving in astrology, not just for personal and spiritual growth, but for a very practical way. Now, the inner part of this villain, maybe they feel uninspired. Maybe they feel like they just blend in and are unremarkable. Or maybe they feel restricted and trapped by like the industry standards of like the same old way. What is that for you? So mark down their problem. Point 3 that you want to bring into this: why it matters, the philosophy, the moral injustice. So, for example, for me, brilliant entrepreneurs shouldn't have to water down their magic or copy everyone or guess to build a successful brand. This is where astrology comes in. And even more so for my clients, because I'm a woman of color, I happen to work with a lot of underrepresented leaders, whether we are people of color, whether we are women, whether we're neurodivergent or, have different sexual orientations or identities. The injustice is now the system that doesn't play or creates their own rules that we just aren't part of. And so get into why this matters, why it matters for them. Sometimes you can use so that or so what. Always get why does it matter to them? The next piece of the puzzle you need, the fourth piece of the puzzle, is you. You're the guide, you're Yoda. You're the person who has the inner awareness, the inner awakening, the empathy, because you understand what your people have gone through. You understand the struggles because maybe you have lived through those struggles also. You understand why they might be turning to astrology and rather than just going into traditional strategies. And you also have the outer leadership, the authority, the experience, whether you are an experienced astrologer or whatever your credentials are, the things that you have overcome. Your lived experience is an authority. You don't have to get all of the degrees and the credentials and all of those things to be an authority. The things that you've overcome, the things that you've endured, the things that you have been able to accomplish are all part of your authority. So, what makes you the authority? So, of course, when you're describing you, you want the emotional, the empathy, as well as the external, the expertise and the authority that you already are. And trust me, I hear some of you are like, oh, I'm not an authority in anything. Your lived experience is absolutely your authority. And from this, you have a plan. So this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, your fifth. You have a plan, you have a system, you have a framework, a way of bringing them from point A to point B. This is why if you've been working with me for a while, and I'm sorry, all my certification and circle members, you're like, I'm always talking about what's your framework? Let's talk about your signature system. This is why you need it. Because people are going to remember your plan more than they're going to remember the steps in there. And so, when I'm working, I have my AstroBrand framework. I also have my star powered philosophy. I also have the way to bring people from, getting curious, feeling into it. I have all of these frameworks built into the way that not only I teach astrology, but how I get people to integrate astrology into their entrepreneurship and their leadership. Okay. So, what is your plan, your method, your system? That's your fifth step. The sixth step in your story arc is, remember in the feel no do? What do you want them to do? What is your call to action? And I know it's really easy to hide and not actually do the ask. But hey, do you want to apply for the next AstroBrand cohort? We are starting in the fall, and waitlists and applications are now open. That's my CTA. Or take this free changemaker assessment. Get people onto your list because we still need email lists or download this astrographics guide. Whatever it is, get your people to take action, sign the petition, buy the thing, download the thing, share the thing, whatever it is. Your call to action starts with a verb. And then lastly, the seventh point, this is your bonus point. This is the tip that helps them avoid failure. Now, I know avoiding failure, there's no such thing as failure when you think about everything. There's no such thing as a mistake, only learning lessons. But how to avoid wasting more time, how to avoid taking the guesswork out, how to avoid any pain, right? If they don't take action, they remain stuck teaching the same way, doing the same old things, competing on price, watching their creative dream and business gather dust, whatever that pain point is for them, I want you to add that extra bonus that, hey, if you don't do this now, you're going to stay stuck here for a lot longer than if you took action right now. And then, ta-da, it ends in success. What does success look like for them? And so, with my AstroBrand certification, if we're coming back to that, success for them is having a product that they can already utilize in their business to help them grow their business, having their systems and frameworks, having their business positioning, and having a language of astrology that they can weave into their own practice. I love it. So, friends, I hope that this really helped you. And, because we're focusing here on this Gemini new moon, I want you to really start to look at this story arc and see how you can start applying this in your next post, in your next sales page, in your next LinkedIn post, whatever it is that you're wanting people to get involved with in your work, in your leadership, in your business. Try the 7 points out and see how it works for you. So, in the next episode of this 3-part series, we're going to be taking a look at the Gemini New Moon prompts for all signs. It's going to be based on my upcoming book, Astrology for Changemakers. And so, grab your chart and go listen in to this 3rd part. But before you leave, now that you have the 7-step blueprint, what are you wanting to share into the wild next? Drop a comment below and tell me, what is your one unique, creative, or unconventional project or offer that you want to share that gives your work an unstoppable edge? Maybe it's a deck, maybe it's a meditation, maybe it's a tool, maybe it's your version of ADHD dice. Let me know in the comments. So thank you again. If this episode, if this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.